Hi everybody and welcome to this Christmassy wintry episode of Dye Time. And today I am using all of my blues. Well, actually I'm not sure if I'm going to use all my blues. I've got all my blues out of my collection and let's see how many of them I'm going to use in this project. Now I know that one up there says green, but it really reads more blue than green. The yarn I've got today is 100 grams of 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 5% silver lurex. You can see that beautiful sparkle in there. And I've got my mask on, got my gloves on, I have my pot of dedicated dye spoons. So I'm just going to start sprinkling some dye on this. The heat isn't on and there's no acid in there yet. I'm just going to do this. Is Mermaid's Dream. I haven't really got a plan for this. I'm just sort of going with, I'm just sort of making it up as I go along really. I don't know if this is going to turn into a huge disaster or if it will look really pretty. Fingers crossed it will look really pretty. I love this Mermaid's Dream. It breaks beautifully when using it. It's a fibre reactive dye from Dharma and it breaks beautifully when using it with cotton. But that blue is so pretty just on its own like that. Because this is an animal fibre, I can use both fibre reactive dyes and acid dyes. And it needs acid and heat to set the dye to the yarn, which I haven't added either of those yet. And this is Mum Jeans, which is also a fibre reactive dye from Dharma. That's pretty. This is a really nice sort of denim blue, and I think I'm using way too much dye because I've got 13 different dyes to use on this. So let's go a little bit lighter with this next one, which is Blue Violet. Again, another acid, no, it's not an acid dye, it is a fibre reactive dye. This is a beautiful sort of blue colour, but it also splits. If you can see, it's a really nice purpley blue, and when it breaks it just becomes the most beautiful purple that I see a lot in when I use it with cotton. I think I'm going to skip Nebula Navy for now. That's my next one on my list because that's quite a dark one. I want to get some brighter colours in here. So this next one I've got is Turquoise, which is another fibre reactive dye from Dharma. This one is a primary, and which means it doesn't split. It's only made of that one colour. Oh, I love that turquoise. It's very similar to Mermaid's Dream. I'm guessing there's a lot of turquoise in Mermaid's Dream. Now I am using I am using a different spoon for each colour, but I am very quickly losing track of which colour I've actually used. I'm going to go for Baby Blue Eyes next, which is an acid dye from Dharma. So you can easily mix up acid dyes and fibre reactive dyes in the same project as long as you've got a animal based fibre. Acid dyes will not dye plant based fibres. Well, that looks really pretty with that. I have now lost track of which ones I have used and which ones I haven't. Okay, Mermaid's Dream, Mum Jeans, Blue Violet. Definitely use those. I've definitely used Turquoise and Baby Blue Eyes. There we go. I don't have much counter space and yeah, everything is just turning into a huge disaster mess here. It's fine, it's fine. Hopefully this yarn will look really pretty in the end. And this next one is Frozen, which is an acid dye from Dharma. I'm going to stick that up there. That's lovely. I put it up there because I knew it would be quite different from Blue Violet. Let's see how. That's quite similar to the turquoise. Next up I am going to go for green, which is this is an acid dye from DT Craft and Design. Now this really does read very blue more than green. Usually, when I've used this before, it's very blue. Although now, I just know my luck, it's going to be very green and look very strange. Well, it goes with the rest here. I swatch dye all of my dyes when I first get them, and put them in a little bundle like this. This is my blue bundle, and that's that green. You can see it's very blue. It's almost the same as that turquoise there. So that's why I've added it into here. And see, it's quite a teal colour more than green. I would not call that green. And next I'm going to go for turquoise, which this one is from DT Craft and Design. It's an acid dye from DT Craft and Design, and it is slightly different from the Dharma turquoise. Put some over there. See, this is more it's similar to the Frozen, that turquoise, I think. There we go. And next up, I'm going to use Cyan from DT Craft and Design. I love this cyan. It's such a gorgeous blue. Put some over here. Oops, not my tripod. There. See, all these blues, they're quite similar, but they are different. I think I'm going to need more of that baby blue eyes. That's quite a different one to the rest. I still have 4 more blues to go. I'm going to try a little tiny bit of dark navy acid dye from Dharma. Just a little bit I'm going to put up here. Because this is nice. This is a lovely colour, but it is dark and it's looking very purple in comparison to the others. That's okay. That's okay. I'm hoping this will look really nice and wintry. Okay, so I've used the dark navy, and I'm now going to use the nebula navy, which is a Fibre reactive dye from Dharma, which I thought they were quite similar, but looking at them like this, the dark navy is definitely more purple, and this nebula navy is just a beautiful, beautiful dark navy. 2 more colours. I think I'm going to use them all. I'm going to do it. This one is Caribbean Blue, acid dye from Dharma. This one is quite a notorious bleeder, and it takes a long time to set. So I'm just going to use the tiniest bit of this one. It's a beautiful blue, but it is trouble. It's a trouble blue. Finally going with Wedgwood Blue. This is an acid, no, it's not acid, it's Fibre reactive dye from Dharma, and it breaks beautifully into pinks, and when I speckle with it, I love that. Well, that I think is pretty good. I've actually used all of them. I didn't know if I was going to or not. But that's pretty good. Now let's give it some heat. So I put it's on 2 burners, and I've just turned them down to low, and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to do 4 tablespoons of vinegar, because blues are trouble bleeders. Yeah, now I'm just going to let this heat up. Maybe turn up a little bit more. Let this heat up, and then I'll let it set for about 10 minutes or so. I'll come back in about 10 minutes to see how this is doing. Okay, this has been on the heat for about 15 minutes now. And I have had to add a little bit more water, but it does look like most of that blue has absorbed to the yarn. There is still some in there. That is not surprising. Oh, let's write down. So I don't think this really needs anything more. I think I'm going to add a tiny bit more baby blue eyes over there. There are a couple of little white patches, but all in all, this has worked really well, I think. And I can still see that green there, which is more blue than green. But I wonder how that will show up once this is finished. So just added a bit more baby blue eyes there. I just want to come and give it a little bit of a mix up. I want to get as much coverage on this as possible. So I'd rather not have any whites left. But if I do have white left, it's not the end of the world. I think baby blue eyes, I'm just going to add a little bit more of just in the places that look a little bit pale, because it's quite a pale blue. I don't want it to take over everything. I just want it to try and cover up those gaps, as it were. But yeah, pretty happy with how this is turning out. I think I've got all of the blue, all the white. Let's have a look. Let's move this around. Maybe I'll add a little bit of frozen, because it's a bright colour, but it's not overly pigmented. It's quite a pastel one. Just add a bit more of that beautiful frozen. Ooh, I see some breaking. Look at that. There's some yellow in there. I don't know which one that's come from, but I wasn't expecting to see that. That's cool. Get a bit more frozen. Now I have just wiped my spoon off, so I'm not introducing any moisture into this. And I did forget to say that this yarn had been pre-soaking in water for probably about 20 minutes before I started with this. But you can really see that gorgeous sparkle now. I think I'm happy with that. A tiny bit more. That little spot there. There we go. Yep, that's it. I'm done now. So now I'm just going to try and lay this out a bit. Try not to splash everywhere. Add a little bit more water. Yes, this water is slightly blue. This is the jug that I put my used spoons in. So there is a tiny bit of dye coming out of that. So this was originally low immersion, but once I am happy with the yarn, I like to really cover it with water, because there probably is still undissolved dye powder in there. So I just want to give it all as much chance as it can to set to the yarn and to dissolve. But it's already looking like there's not that much dye left in there. I think one more jug, and I need to stop putting my fingers in this because it is getting quite hot now. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more acid, just because I know what blues are like. So that's 3 more tablespoons, making it a total of 6. I think, did I do 3 before? I'm not sure, I can't remember. So I'm just going to let this sit on the heat now for probably about 30 minutes. Try and give this as much time as it can to really set to the yarn. Okay, this has been on the heat for about half an hour. I have been checking it, but looks like most of that blue is in that yarn. That's brilliant. I think there's a hint of blue still in the water, but it's mostly in that yarn, which is fantastic. So I'm going to turn the heat off, let this cool down completely, then I can dry it. This yarn has cooled down now, so So let's wash it. That's just cold tap water I've got at the moment. There was a hint of blue dye left in the water with dye bath, but I'm not seeing any blue coming out at the moment. I'm going to give this a few washes because blue can be a bleeder. I'm going to let this soak for a little bit as well. I wouldn't normally do that if I don't see any bleeding. I think there's a hint of blue in there. I'm not sure. But I'm just going to... That was a bit of washing up liquid I put in there to help get rid of anything we don't want in there. Help shift any colour that hasn't bound to the yarn. Yeah, I do see a little bit of blue coming out. So I'm going to wash, what I'm going to do is just put the plug in, put a bit more washing up liquid in, and then just let it soak in this for a bit. Hopefully it won't take too much longer before it runs dry. Runs dry? Runs clear, water runs clear. I have changed the water a couple of times. I've added some more washing up liquid and just let this sit in some cold tap water. But now it looks like this water is running clear. There may be the tiniest hint of blue, but all in all, that is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I can now hang this up to dry. And here is the finished yarn. Now, this is really me all over. I love blues. I have more blue dyes in my collection than any other colour, closely followed by green, but there are a few more blues than there are greens. And I'm quite impressed that I managed to use all 13 colours on here. And I love it. I love it. I think I can still spot the green that I used. It's not a real green, but it's not... I thought it was more blue, but it's not really a blue either. It's sort of an in-between colour. But I think it works well with this. It gives it a nice depth. And I love the dark colours, the dark blues with this stellina. Not stellina, it's lurex. I'm not sure what the difference is, but this is lurex. And look at it. It just sparkles through, and it just reminds me of, sort of the sun shining on a snowy, icy day. And yeah, this has really lived up to my expectations. I'm really happy with this. I love it. It's great. And all the blues have blended so well together. Look at them. I know these ones around here are the Nebula Navy and Dark Navy. Not sure which one's which. That's possibly the Fibre reactive one, and this is the acid one, but I'm not sure. And the rest of the blues have just blended so nicely. I couldn't tell you exactly which one is which, because they all work so well together, I think. I've just turned this over, and look, there's some pops of yellow in here. They must have come from that green, I think, but I think that's great. There's some nice teal there. But look, there's just some random splodges of yellow where one of the dyes has broken. I couldn't say which one. My guess would be the green, but I'm not 100%. I like it. It looks really nice with the rest of this yarn. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do please click like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Should I do this sort of experiment again with all of my colours from another colour? Say I do all my greens or all my reds. What do you think? Let me know. Would you like to see something like that again? I publish a new video every Monday around about 6 PM UK time, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you don't miss a new video. I do like to experiment with different dyes and fibre types and techniques, and I do often use viewer suggestions to help create new content. So if you do have a suggestion, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.